This is Metal Show. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and my co-host, of course, is Tom Collier from the band Held Hostage, and we got with us the owner of Category TV, Lethal Axe, and of course, our special guest today is guitarist Doug Aldrich from the Dead Daisies. Now, I got to tell you, Doug, your publicist sent us a link for the new album, and I got to tell you, this is hard for me to say because I love everything you guys have done, but from top to bottom, I think this just might be the band's best album yet. I mean, not one filler song. I just got to say that right off the bat.
Come on, you always say that. You always say that, Jason. Come on, man. Tell the truth.
Okay. No, but really,
you guys, thank you. That's very kind. I mean, look, we're just having fun. We're not trying to reinvent anything. We're just making music that we like, and hopefully our friends and fans like it too.
And then let me ask you, because one interesting thing about the band is which doesn't really seem to kind of affect the fans' love for the band is there's been many lineup changes even with the singers, and it just kind of it's a great band, and I love that about the people coming and going, but people still love it.
Yeah, I mean the core of the thing is always there. I mean it's always been David Lowy doing he's the founder and the leader. Sure. And Corabi's been there a long time. He took a break for a bit, obviously, but he's the quintessential singer. I've been there since 2016, so I'm kind of like the longest running
next
member.
To David, right?
Probably.
Yeah,
next to David. Me and David are a good team. We have a lot of fun with this stuff, and it's simple rock. We play well together, and I appreciate what he brings to it. He appreciates what I bring to it. Corabi he's great, man. And then now we got Michael Devin on bass and Tommy Clefettis on drums for the tours. So we're definitely kicking and having a good time.
No doubt about it. Now, Tom, of course, you're a fellow guitar player, so I know you probably have a lot of questions you want to ask Doug.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Doug, first of all, I played when you got inducted at the Metal Hall of Fame. I was actually I was one of the bands that played there. My band Held Hostage. I'm good friends with Pat.
Oh, that.
Yeah, you guys did a great show. I loved it, man. I got to meet you backstage. Everybody was a Twisted Sister. It was just a great night, and congratulations on that.
Thanks, brother. Thanks. That was really cool. I did not get to see. I passed Dee Snider a couple times and could not get any close. He's like the president.
Yeah, it was a crazy night, but it was a fun time, and I stuck around when you guys came on. It was just fantastic. I loved it. I just want to say congratulations. The other thing I want to ask you about,
thanks, bro.
We're talking about the Dead Daisies, but I live near Ronnie Dio. I grew up. I seen Ronnie Dio in every band he ever played in. What was it like to play with Ronnie Dio? And then we'll get back to the Dead Daisies, but I just have to ask that question.
Well, Ronnie was. It was a blast, and joining the Dead Daisies was similar to joining Ronnie. When I joined Ronnie's band, it was so funny, man. He was looking for a guitar player. He had already asked me to join the band in 1990, but I couldn't leave my band I was in. I was just trying to be loyal, because we were all living together. Sure. And if I left, it was going to be a bad situation for the band, So I told Ronnie no, but then 10 years later, I did a session with Jimmy Bain, and Jimmy said, "Hey, Ronnie's looking for a guitar player. What do you think?" And I was like, "I'm ready. Let's go." And it took Ronnie about like 6 months. I didn't hear from him for like 6 months, and then finally he calls me right before Christmas and goes, "Hey, let's meet at the pub on the 26th, of December." I'm like, "Okay." So I meet with him, and he's like, "Okay, Doug. So Jimmy told you we're making a record, and we're looking for a guitar player, and just wondered if you'd want to be interested in playing on a song or two." And I was like, I looked at Jimmy, I'm like, "What the fuck?" And I go, "No, Ronnie, I don't want to play on a song or two. I want to join the band. That's it. I want to do all the guitars." Yeah. And he goes, "Okay, great. See you tomorrow." And it was like, oh, wow. Okay. So then I got all my gear in my truck, and I pulled up to the studio, and so when I'm talking about joining a family, like I opened the truck, I was about ready to grab an amp, and a big guy called Turbo, about 7 feet tall or higher maybe, he's like, "Don't touch that amp. That's my job. You're not supposed to do that. You're the guitar player." And I was like, okay, I got you. And it was cool. I was basically, the deal guitar player does not lift amps, so it was really cool, man. And then when I joined the Dead Daisies, the same thing. It was like, okay, we're making a record next year. We'll meet up in January. We met up. We started writing the first day. Of course, I knew all these guys. They're all really good friends of mine, and of course, Marty Fredrickson, our producer, he was famous. So I was really excited to work with him. But it's run like a family. Everybody covers everybody, and we take care of each other, and it's been really, really a great run.
It really has.
But to answer to just top off Ronnie is one of the most inspiring people, as you know, and he made everybody better, a better player, better everything. And I'll never forget those times going to his house and just having regular conversations about sports or about some of the stories he told with him and Richie in the studio, and these different things. And he was really good to me. I wouldn't be talking to you guys if it wasn't for Ronnie.
Yeah, I'm sure. Lethal X, do you have anything you want to ask Doug?
No, I was checking out the album, and the one song that I got was "I'm Gonna Ride." It
Yeah.
kind of kicked up and reminded me a little bit of an AC/DC like style, just a little
I
bit
would
for part
I
of
would
it.
say a lot of it. It's definitely got, it could fit right on with the AC/DC album. It's definitely, um, 50% of that it's a very simple riff with just big chords. So that's kind of AC/DC-esque. But the production of it is very AC/DC. The arrangement is very AC/DC. And, it's one of those things like we can try to take it away from that, but why?
Yeah.
So we just rolled with it.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of the album has, there's a lot of stuff that's basically in that same vein. It's straight ahead. That's what the Dead Daisies has always been. No frills, straight ahead, kick in the teeth rock and roll. And I'm Gonna Ride was basically a song that John brought in, and we daisified it to put our stamp on it and stuff. But we were just going to do one song, really, I think, originally, and that was one of the songs we were talking about. And then we started banging on other ideas, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, shit, let's make a record. We got all these ideas now. So, but originally we just thought, hey, John's back. We did the best of tour last year, and it was really great. And we thought, well, let's, for 2024, let's make a song. Let's put a song out, and then that turned into Light 'Em Up.
Well, I'm so glad it did, because you guys are so old school in that way that there aren't many bands that still put out full length albums. So bands like the Dead Daisies that do, I say, tip my hat to you guys, because again, just it's a great tunes one right after the other. And while we're talking about I'm Gonna Ride, let me ask you, in watching the video, there's some guy at the beginning saying, I guess talk about kind of a biker lifestyle. Hey, it's like a brotherhood. Who was that?
That is a guy. He's one of the greatest people in my life. His name's Christopher Pearson. You can follow him online. He's a great dude. He's a biker. He's actually he's a PD. I guess it's called PD. He's a production guy for movies. He does camera work and editing and colorization and stuff. And but he's one of the greatest dudes. He's like always there, like working on, like, hey, what's going on with your bike? I'm like, it's blah blah blah. Hey, bring it over. Let's bring it over. Let's work on it. Let's go. And he always puts in his time. He fabricates a lot of parts for people, for friends, and stuff like Gilby Clark. We ride with Gilby and a bunch of guys, and Gilby will show up and he's got this brass gas tank cap, and it's like, dude, that's cool. Where'd you get that? He goes, Christopher made it for me. So anyway, Christopher got in the video, and I'm glad he did.
Could you imagine, Doug, if as a result of you mentioned Christopher in this interview, people start hitting him up online? That would be
would be funny.
Yeah.
He's on Instagram, Christopher Pearson.
Wow. And and I'm going to throw it to you, Tom. You have any more questions you'd like to ask Doug?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's like You guys have like the lineup that you guys have had. I mean, from Glenn Hughes to you to John Corabi. I mean, just so John Stevens. There's so many people. What's going to be the touring? I see you guys are heading to the UK to tour in Europe and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Who's going to be?
Yeah, we're heading to the UK. That's going to be this lineup that's on the record plus Tommy Clufetos. So we got our secret weapon when we got Michael Devin in the band last year. Michael Devin everyone knows he's a ferocious bass player. He's amazing, but he's an amazing singer too. And the backgrounds with him and kind of trading off lead vocals here and there, him and John is just stellar. And then we played with Tommy Clufetos a couple times. He came in and filled in for Tishy before I was in the band, and then he came in and played with Glenn and I and David, and it was great. But with Michael Devin, those two are just locking up. Like they've been playing together for so long, and it's heavy like a mofo, these guys. Tommy's no joke, man. Tommy's a heavy drummer.
Wow. Yeah, and speaking of Michael Devlin, you and him were, of course, in Whitesnate. And you guys, when John first came back, I seen a video you guys put up online of you guys covering Slide It In. Was there ever any thought to putting that on the new record?
No, we were just messing around, and they recorded it on accident. It was just it got recorded at rehearsal, and then somebody decided, oh, let's just put it out. They had us play along to it, and they got some footage and stuff, but we had just been jamming that in rehearsal. It was just very casual.
Robbie's doing his best Coverdale there.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, everyone probably likes to try a little Coverdale here and there, but yeah, Michael is great. Tommy Clufetos on drums, me and David on guitars. John Corabi is the Crabmeister, is the rock and roll gypsy badass. He is rock and roll MC, and it's going to be great to be, the shows with him are always fun. It's like a backyard barbecue at his house every time.
You said something like that when I interviewed you 6 years ago, telling me, how great it was to have John in the band, which I get that. But let me ask you, how surprised were you when he made the announcement a few years back that he was going to leave?
What happened?
I mean,
when
how
he
surprised
said
were
he was
you?
going to leave?
Were you surprised when he said, "Hey guys,
I wasn't surprised. He had been mentioning that he was kind of wanting to do some different stuff, and he had some things he had something going with his son that was a music thing, and he wanted to do that, and our schedule had been like, since we did Make Some Noise, we had just been busting it from all angles.
Yeah.
For 3 years. So he was probably ready for a little break, and he wanted to take time off. We wanted to do some other stuff, and Glenn came in the picture, and we were really proud of what we did with Glenn. It was different, but it was still had the Dead Daisies thing to it. And then, like I say, we put out that best of, and we thought John would be the best guy to get back. He's kind of the quintessential singer, and it really is John's band when he's involved. He's like, he kind of runs the show.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I was like, that's why I was asking, because, as disappointing or as it must have been for him to leave, it must be the ultimate feeling to have him come back, to be back with the.
Yeah, he was, well, we always bust each other. Me and him have known each other since we were in high school. So we were always breaking each other's balls, talking shit and stuff. But
Yeah.
he is the most down to earth front man I've ever met. I mean, he's just like, it's just like hanging with your, just a bro that's not even in the music business. He's just like very, very centered,
Yeah, another great song on
He
this
puts,
album.
like I say,
I want to be your bitch. I love that song. I mean, off the new album, not to be confused with
cool.
your great cover of "Bitch" by the Rolling Stones.
Right. Yeah, that song, "I Want to Be Your Bitch," was a riff that I had actually recorded David Lowy playing a riff that kind of was that. And then we wrote a song around that. And then John goes, "Yeah, I got the title. It's called 'I Want to Be Your Bitch.'" And I'm like, "You already are my bitch, sucker."
Yeah.
So here's what I have to say is
I'm just kidding, of course, but
Yeah.
Great, but what I have to say about like John Corabi, he reminds me of my good friend Tim Ripper Owens. They both didn't get the recognition they did now. Ripper sang my last two albums with me, and Ripper and I are good friends. In fact, he's singing a song on my new album. But Corabi is on that level. Ripper's on that level. Those are two guys that never got the recognition they should have. And I'm just happy to see them guys out there doing it. He's doing with KK's Priest, and now John's doing with the Dead Daisies. It's perfect.
I give both those guys a lot of credit, man. I mean, John to me is his sound is very stylistic. You always know it's Corabi when you hear it.
Oh, sure.
And he's on the road. He's the toughest motherfucker out there. He's he could be sick with strep throat and be like doing 6 in a row.
Yeah.
That's how he is.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
so, Doug, how many of the new songs are you gonna start putting in the set?
At the moment, we were playing about 4 songs in the set when we did some shows in June. We did about 4 songs in the set at that time, and so we'll at least be doing that kind of thing. We'll probably 4 or 5. We're very excited about playing the stuff live. It's fun to play new
Sure.
stuff, but you got to play the songs that people want to hear, for sure as well. Once they get the record, if they get the record, they'll want to hear that stuff live, and we'll give it to them.
Of course, the record comes out September 6th. Got to let people know that. And before we have to wrap it up, Doug, something I really wanted to ask you about. I've been thinking about this all day. You got great album covers. I was curious. The kind of skull head, is that like a mascot, kind of similar to Iron Maiden's Eddie? Or talk a little bit about that, because I think it's cool that you always got such a cool looking album cover.
That is, it's interesting because the dude doesn't have a name. But maybe we should come up with a name. Call him Brutus or something. But yeah, it's part of the theme that the Daisies had before me and that continues to have. So they roll with it. We got some great people doing art and great teamwork to put that stuff together. And yeah, so
great marketing.
We're always, well, it's part of the thing. There was the original one that was really cool. I remember was skull with the daisies coming out of it. Coming out of the eye.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool.
So each one kind of designed by a different artist. It's not the same guy doing everything.
Well, actually, our management commissions that stuff, and I'm not sure if it's always the same guy. I actually don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I just kind of was.
But our manager is in charge of that. He takes care of that.
But you got a real great team of people behind you. So I'd like to thank you, Doug, for coming on once again, and we'd love to have you back down the line. This will probably be going up in early September. I'll be sure to let Chip know so you can post it and share it. But thanks for coming on today.
Awesome.
We really enjoyed having you, my friend.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it, Jason. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
All the best. You guys stay out of trouble. Good luck with the band, Tom.
Thank you. You too, man. We'll see you soon.
Take care, Doug. Bye.
All right, guys. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
All right.